rolling into the new year now, 2021. I'm just curious, how was your new year, celebrating 2020? Did you do anything fancy? Enjoy the holidays? How was that for you?
Foi ótimo. Como, né, já
Yeah,
tinha
it was
acabado de
great. I
vir,
had a
dar
great new
uma
year, lots of
tranquilizada
energy to
e
celebrate this up and
novo,
coming year.
cheio de energia para 2021.
And just how has navigation of like things been for you where you're living and everything? Of course, we've all had to deal with, the circumstances in our own ways, but just how have things been, especially as we continue to go forward here in, in this new life we kind of have to live.
Na verdade, assim, como a academia,
Yeah, I have a
ela é
gym together with my
com meu
husband,
esposo,
so
então a
not
gente
much has changed.
treina
We've been
todos os
able to
sábados,
train
dia
here in our
academia.
gym. The only thing
A
that's really
diferença é só
changed
que a
is
gente
we've
não está dando
stopped
aula
giving
mais,
classes
dando
during
aula
the pandemic.
específica, porque agora a gente
We
faz
only have a
mais
small
algo
training group
direcionado,
where we train together, and that's about
bem
it.
pouquinho.
All right, very cool. Sounds like it's been working out for the most part, of course, and hopefully you can get back to classes as soon as possible. But just to get more into things here, Norma, I'm very curious about your background in starting combat sports and everything because I know you have your background in Sanda, right? And that seems like a very unique thing for a Brazilian fighter, in my opinion. At least I don't hear too much about it. Of course, a very popular and probably the most prominent striking art from China and everything. But how did you end up, learning and getting into Sanda?
Na verdade, eu comecei no jiu-jitsu mesmo, né?
So
Com
actually, I began in jiu-jitsu, and
e
after
aí
a few
depois eu
years, a
parei para
friend introduced me
trabalhar e
to
depois
Sanda,
voltei
and I
ao
was really
ao
interested in it.
Sanda.
I saw people training
Eu,
it,
na
and I
verdade, eu
thought, wow, that's
conheci,
something I want to
assim,
try
eu não
out.
sabia
So I ended
que
up
foi
training, and after
inspiração de
2 years, I
alguém
became
na
Brazilian
época.
champion. I ended up going
Quando eu
back
cheguei,
to
eu vi
jiu-jitsu,
o pessoal trocando
and
porrada,
soon I
vi
realized I wanted to mix a
aquela
little bit everything up, which
falei,
led me to
é isso
MMA.
que eu quero fazer. E logo em seguida eu voltei aos treinos de jiu-jitsu.
Just in terms of, maybe favorite fighters or inspirations, people that helped you along the way. Are there some names you either looked at and watched or people in your personal life that really helped you get started with this journey?
Para começar no esporte, eu não tinha ninguém na época, quando eu
Yeah, in the
comecei, né?
beginning, I didn't
Foi
really know anyone in
eu
fighting
gostei muito
sports.
da luta,
I began without
e
knowing, having any
foi uma coisa que eu
references,
gostei muito desde
but soon
pequena.
I got to know my trainer, who was
Hoje
an
em dia, para
inspiration for
mim,
me,
né, eu
and
tenho meu treinador
inside
dos
UFC,
sonhos,
a fighter who,
que foi
inside and out,
dentro do
represents what I
UFC,
believe in is Khabib
para
Nurmagomedov.
escolher um atleta
One of the best to ever do it, of course. And I'm sure that you, like the rest of us, are a bit sad to see him go. But what a way to go out on top, right?
eu acho que foi a única vez que eu posso dizer que eu
Yeah,
quase
I
chorei
confess
assistindo.
that I think it was
Foi
one
nessa
of the only
corrida
fights where I
que ele
cried
fez pela
after a
primeira
fight,
vez.
and
Mas
I was
acho que a
really
gente tem
sad
que
to see
aceitar
him
o
leave the
momento de
sport,
cada
but at the same
atleta.
time, I'm really excited to
Fico muito
see him
triste
leaving
por
the
não vê-lo
sport
há mais tempo
the way
e
he's
muito
leaving
ver
at
ele
the
se
top.
aposentando.
Seems like he's going to do some great things outside of the octagon as well. So can't help but be happy for him. That's definitely for sure. But can't help but feel happy for you as well. Congratulations on that amazing, win, first UFC win to close out 2020 against Ashlee Evans-Smith. I mean, just an awesome performance for you. What was that feeling like of getting that first UFC win? Because that's one of those memories that sticks with everybody.
É difícil de descrever, porque toda vez que você entra no
It's
ringue
a
são
difficult feeling to
emoções
describe. It's a mix of
parecidas,
emotions
diferentes de
depending on when
acordo com
you're
o momento,
fighting,
né?
but it's definitely a
Então,
mix of
foi
great
uma
emotions,
sensação
good
muito boa,
feelings,
mas
and
também
relief.
de
I think the main
alívio, né?
emotion that
De,
I felt
poxa,
was relief.
cheguei,
When you get your
ganhei pelo
first
menos a
win in the
primeira aqui,
organization,
já
I
estou em
feel that
casa,
you begin
estou
feeling part of the
me sinto
organization.
mais
Really, you
dentro
feel
da
at home.
organização.
So
Então foi realmente uma
I
sensação
felt
que eu
very
só
relieved.
descrevi uma
Then I feel
palavra
like
seria
now the work
gratidão.
really begins to
E
continue
agora
doing what
sim,
I
vamos
did.
começar.
And did it feel like even better too to get that win, of course, coming off of your first career loss, unfortunately, but just did that make it all that much better too to kind of go back in there and show off all the skills that you have and put a stamp on, okay, I'm here, you guys.
Sei sim, porque a minha derrota para a Mega, eu não
With my
tive
defeat
essa
to Megan, I
sensação
didn't really feel a
de
loss. I
tristeza
felt
mesmo,
like
na
I
sensação de
had
aprendizado, que eu
learned
acho que
something
isso me
new.
ajudou
I
muito.
felt I needed to evolve.
Então, a vitória em seguida
Mm.
realmente foi uma
I wanted to
sensação de
evolve
que, tipo,
from having
ajustei o
this
jogo
loss.
e
So
consegui
I don't really
evoluir de uma
know
derrota que eu tive, né?
if
Essa
how
sensação
I would have
realmente,
felt
ela
after if I would
vem,
have won in the first fight against
é,
Megan.
mas
I
toda
think after a
vitória, né, ela é
loss,
muito
the feeling
emocionante.
is
Eu
that you
não
want
sei se eu
to
não tivesse ganhado a
improve
outra, se
yourself
seria
and
diferente
continue
essa
working.
sensação de felicidade, sabe? Porque ali dentro é tudo muito momento.
And just as for that performance that you had against Ashlee Evans-Smith, like I said, very good, very one-sided. You did your thing in every round. Did you go out there and like show off everything that you wanted to? Because, it went about as well as it could without getting a finish, of course.
Muito, né? Pra começar, eu lutei com a lesão no joelho.
Yeah, I definitely didn't show all of my skills last fight. I fought with a knee injury. Before the fight, I spent 2 months without jiu-jitsu, and up to 10 days before the fight, I wasn't kicking, I wasn't exercising my kicks. So there's definitely a lot more I want to show, and I'm sure that you will be able to see it next fights.
Eu tenho jiu-jitsu muito agressivo.
Well, wow, that's pretty impressive then, considering that, you went in there not at 100%, I suppose, and looked as good as you did. So props for that. And that'll be exciting to see in this next one, because you got the next one lined up. Bea Malecki, congratulations on getting this fight, of course. Going to be a very fun one. Just how much do you know about Bea going into this? And what are you initial thoughts on the matchup and maybe things that you do want to show off in this one?
Eu sei, ela é pouco fechada, assim, pouco difícil.
Yeah, she says that Bea Malecki doesn't have too many fights in her career. She knows that she comes from Muay Thai and she's a big fighter, but it's a little bit difficult to do research, being that she doesn't have too much contact with her fighting experience. She said that she thinks it's going to be a great fight. She's very excited. She said that she doesn't see it going to the third round, and she'll be able to show some cool stuff, including show off her new skills that she learned, because she just got her brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Congratulations on the brown belt. That is awesome. Looking forward to seeing, that those skills showing off, of course. And, you're in a division, the bantamweight division now, which is one that we're still kind of waiting for somebody to truly emerge as like a clear-cut contender. I mean, just hoping for some more contenders at the top of bantamweight as is. So for you, what do you think like a win does for you in this position to keep gaining this momentum and working your way up the ladder?
Vitória sobre a Malecki com
I think a decisive victory over Bea Malecki will definitely prove a lot in this division. After a win, I want to fight a top 10, top 15 opponent. And I think that with time, I can slowly climb my way to the top. I think in about 5 or 6 decisive wins, I can already see myself fighting for the title.
Hard to argue against that. And your UFC debut came at featherweight. So I'm curious now, being at bantamweight and everything, and that's where you've spent most of your career. Did you initially want to debut at bantamweight? And was it like a case of, all right, I'll take this UFC fight, get in the UFC, featherweight, whatever, let's go?
O UFC que me chamou para entrar, né?
Yeah, she was invited to the UFC to participate in the featherweight division, and she was really excited for that. But with time, she realized that due to the lack of lots of fighters in the division, she wouldn't be able to have as many fights as she wanted to. So she ended up deciding, together with her trainer, to lose weight and to go to the division lower, so she could get more opportunities to fight and to fight more frequently in the year. But she says that she still wants to get her rematch with Megan, so she sees herself going up to a weight class to get that.
And I know that after your last fight, I believe it was, maybe it was after the Megan one, I don't remember exactly, but you mentioned how the weight adjustments you had to make from featherweight and bantamweight, or going to bantamweight, was kind of difficult and very hard on you. So, I mean, are there any regrets of starting at featherweight for you, or just how do you reflect on, the difficulties of making those weight adjustments?
Eu estava bem mais pesada, né? Antes de eu entrar na academia, eu ficava em torno de 72.
Yeah, she said that indeed, before she entered UFC, she would walk around in a heavier weight. When she was hired to UFC and she did her first weight cut, she realized that it was really tough. And so her strategy was to have a lower weight out of training. So when she's in fights, she keeps her weight lower, and she thinks that will help her for her next weight cut. And about regretting beginning her UFC career in featherweight, she says that she definitely doesn't regret it because, as she said, she doesn't see her loss against Megan as a loss, but as an experience of learning a lot and growing a lot. So she can't see it as a regret. She says that also that she feels a lot more comfortable at bantamweight because she feels that her strength will make a difference. And yeah, she's excited to see that.
Né? Eu me sinto mais confortável no 61, porque a minha força faz muita diferença no 61.
I think those are all great ways to, look at that overall situation. So sounds good to me. And of course, you know better than I do, but sounds good. And just mentioning Megan still, of course, she has the big title fight with Amanda Nunes coming up. So just curious, how do you think that will go? Your fellow Brazilian, one of the best ever, Amanda Nunes, taking on, past opponent. Just what are your thoughts on that matchup?
Amanda vai derrubar a mesa.
Says that she thinks Amanda is going to take her to the ground probably in the first half of the first round, and she sees Amanda finishing it on the ground in the second round.
For Amanda, what are your thoughts on her as, of course, her evolution as a fighter and just getting to watch her journey, as a fellow Brazilian, like, is that inspiring for you to see somebody like her and go on to see all the great things that she has done?
Yeah, she sees Amanda as a very experienced, tough, and focused fighter. She said that Amanda fought before she entered UFC. She fought everyone who appeared in front of her. And she says that if you look at the top 5 or maybe even the top 10 of the division, it's obvious, it's clear that none of the fighters can get a win out of her. So she thinks that Amanda will probably soon retire with her belts, definitely.
I think we're getting close to that point for sure. She's done it all, but of course, back to you, Norma. We're talking future stuff here, so I want to go back a little bit now because before you made your UFC debut against Megan and everything, I think you had a small kind of break, from fighting. 2018, I think was your last fight before that one. So I'm just curious, was there a reason for the break specifically, or was it just a matter of not being able to find anybody to fight?
Before entering UFC, she said it was really difficult to find an opponent for her in Brazil. She said if you're an incredible athlete here in Brazil, sometimes it's difficult for you to get an opponent because people don't want to face you. She said that when she was hired by the UFC, she was taking a supplement which was forbidden by USADA. So she needed to spend around 6 months to get the supplement out of her system. And during that period, she did around 8 tests with USADA so that when she had her first fight in the UFC, she wouldn't be fined for doping or something like that. And in addition to that, they were also looking for a contender for her in featherweight, but it was a little bit difficult for the organization to find someone. So they ended up matching her up with Megan Anderson, who she wasn't supposed to fight actually because she's a lot more experienced than Norma, but as it was the fight they offered to her, she accepted it.
I want to talk a little bit outside of the cage, though, and MMA stuff, though. Now, I mean, outside of MMA and in your everyday life, like, what are some hobbies that you have? Some of your favorite things to do that aren't related to punching people in the face?
She said that she loves watching animes, and so that's definitely something she does in her free times. She loves spending some time with her cats, and that's basically it. When she wants to rest, she trains and watches a movie, spends some time with her cats.
All right, that sounds like a good time. So in that case, how many cats do you have, and what's your favorite anime? Those are great follow-ups.
8 gatos.
Yeah, she has 8 cats, and her favorite anime is Naruto.
Wow, that I didn't expect that many. You're gonna. I think you take the MMA fighter cat title with that one. Irene Aldana, your fellow bantamweight, is one who has plenty of cats in her own right, but I think you got her beat with that. That's a lot.
She said it's possible that she really is the champion then of the division in having cats.
No doubt about it. But okay, Norma, just two things left for you here. This is a tough one, very tough one as we're getting ready to close out. What do you think that you would be doing now if you never got into MMA?
Não consigo imaginar. Já foi muitas coisas.
Said that she has no idea because before fighting, she was a secretary. She worked as a soccer player, as a volleyball player, but she hated it all. When she began training, she really discovered her passion and her love for fighting. And someone even asked her recently, if you would win all the money of the world, would you continue fighting? And she said, definitely. I'd continue having my gym, I'd continue training, because it's what I love to do.
Ia parar de treinar, ia ficar de boa.
Yeah, fair enough. That is kind of the general answer that I get when I ask that question is people have no idea. They would love to keep fighting. So makes total sense to me. All right, Norma, we will leave things off here then. 2021, what are the goals that you have by the time we roll into 2022? What are some things that you want to say that you accomplished this year?
Bom, comentário sobre o.
Answering the question before still, she said that she imagined that other fighters would answer the same thing because it's so good. It's such a good feeling when you begin training. She said that it's impossible to imagine something else. It's tough, but if it's something that you love to do, it's impossible to do something else. And about this year, answering about what she expects for 2021, she says she definitely wants to fight 3 times. If everything goes well, 4 times. Beginning 2022, she wants to be ranked number 7 or number 8 and have 3 fights with the top 5 fighters to then begin 2023 as the champion of her division.
Oh hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, we'll see you next time.